Oh my God, she's back. Oh, guys, it feels weird. I don't know how many of you do this where you take a break from Instagram stories and talking stories, and then you come back and you're like, I feel clunky. That's how I feel right now. I feel clunky, even though it's not been that long. Well, it kind of has been though, because the last episode you listened to was pre-recorded like 6 weeks ago or something. So it's been a couple of weeks. And I had all intents and purposes to, that's the saying, right? I intended to release an episode on Monday, but life happened, which I'll get to, and it's fine because here I am. I'm back. I have plenty to share with you all around our family trip to Fiji. It was amazing. I have some show and tell things if you're watching YouTube. Actually, before I continue, at some point this week, I would love each of you to go and have a look at my YouTube. I'll put it in the show notes. Just have a look at what beautiful Ash has done, the glow up that this YouTube channel has received. I look like a proper YouTuber, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Like the cover images, it's amazing. She's amazing. The work is phenomenal. So mwah, go have a look at YouTube, even if you don't watch me on YouTube. You're gonna, I don't know, just humor me, please. Give me attention. I've been away for a long time. And I know probably maybe some of you have noticed, maybe none of you have noticed, in which case I will lick my wounds of being forgotten. But I have not been on Instagram and it's felt so good. I'm going to talk a lot about that. That's been a big thing that's come up for me in taking my family holiday and time away and actually being away from work. And there are a lot of transits happening over my 10th house. I've got my MC, which is career and your forward facing role in the world. When you're out in the world, what you're here to do, it's leadership, and mine's in Aries. So all of the Aries transits have either transited already over my MC or are about to. Saturn's pretty close there. Mars is pretty close there. So yeah, there's a lot shifting for me, not in terms of the work I'm here to do. Like I know without a doubt in my mind that my work is here to be a bridge between spirituality and mainstream. Through the podcast, I love this show. It's not going anywhere. Don't worry. Through my readings, I love my readings. I love the heart space. All of that stuff is solid. It's just more the way that I show up, the way that I share my work with the world, the access point people have to my energy. Because for the past decade, and I have been doing this work for over 10 years now, I've been very easily accessed, and that's worked in my favor. And, I've established an identity, an online identity for 10 years. And so that's been groundwork that I have put in for a decade where I have been hyper available online. I've been active in my DMs. I've shown up on my stories every day. It's rare that I miss a day of activity. And none of that is actually strategic. It's from a place of desire to share. You guys know I'm an open book and none of that has been forced, but the time away has really just allowed me to kind of sit with how I want to show up going forward because I'm in the way that I've been using mainly Instagram, let's be real, that's my social media platform of choice. In this current season of my life and this current season of my business, I'm almost using it as if I'm still starting out in my work and that I need to show up every day for people to know where to find me and know how to book with me. And I was reminded of that when I was away and I received 2 readings, bookings, a few Heartspace membership signups. You guys all listened to a podcast that was scheduled. I didn't share anything actively and my business still ran itself. And it was a really nice feeling. It made me really consider where I have, and I've known that I am addicted to Instagram specifically. I don't use TikTok. I've tried that a million times. No, it's not for me. And I don't really use Facebook either. I enjoy Facebook for the reminder of birthdays. That's why I use Facebook. And the memories from, that pop up from 15 years ago, although I die at a lot of what I used to share. My goodness, leaky Leo energy, let me tell you. Like I was the girl, you can imagine, that was like, um, has had better days. Like in the status, it's like Holly as a party has had better days. And then people would comment being like, oh my God, baby, you okay? And I'd be like, I'm not, but I don't want to talk about it. And it's like, why do you put it as your status? Like that was me. 15 years ago, I've come so far. I've come so far. Probably gone the other way, actually. Like, come to think of it, I've swung the other way and been like, has had better days, and this is why, and you all need to hear it. And I'm finding my way into this kind of middle space now where I appreciate what Instagram offers my business and how it's allowed me connection and clients and friendships. Actually, a lot of my friendships have been established on Instagram and then taken off the platform. Uh, I love knowing what my loved ones are up to. And also, my book deals wouldn't have come through. I'm very aware of that if I didn't have an engaged community online in some way. A lot of my readings and opportunities that find me are through the platform. So it's not a dismissal of the platform at all. It's it's a shift in the intention that I have around using it because as I said, I have had an addiction to Instagram, especially since being a stay-at-home mother because you get bored. And I know I've said that before, and it depends if your children are in care or not. I mean, I'm sure we all use our phones, whether you have children or not, whether you're a stay-at-home mum or you're a working mum, we all use our phones as a means of distraction in some way. Just for me, I was using it a lot more than I ever had, especially the scrolling and seeking validation through my stories and DM replies and conversations in my DMs and being constantly active and hyper available from a place of boredom. And what I've realized in being away from the platform is sitting with the boredom has allowed me to redirect it elsewhere. And it's been really great. I've been able to sit with emotions that would have otherwise been suppressed. Boredom is an emotion, right? Boredom is an emotion. It's like, okay, rather than running from boredom, and we hear this a lot of the time in like conscious parenting circles, especially, it's like, let your kids be bored because that's where creativity is born. And that's what's happened with me, guys. I'm the adult version of it. I've been bored, not feeling my space with scrolling. Or as I said, for me, it's my biggest energy leaks, and this is what I'll talk about the trip in a second, but this is what Fiji illuminated for me was the energy leaks for me on Instagram are specifically my stories and my DMs. I don't post unless it's really intentional. I'm pretty intentional with my posting. And I don't spend a lot of time like curating content. So that's never really been a leak for me. I also don't spend a lot of time looking at other people's stuff. This is so Leo. Of course, I look at my loved ones' stuff, like, but that's not, to me, that's not a waste of time. But I don't like stalk people, I'm more interested in myself. Fuck, she's a Leo. But what I mean by that is like when I post the story, then I rewatch the story, and then I rewatch the story through different perspectives of people who have watched my story. I know I'm not the only one that does that, even though that's probably like a vulnerable share for some people, maybe, but I'm like, oh, this person watched that story. Let's watch it through their lens. Like, does anyone else do that? It's probably a neurodivergent thing. But anyway, seeing who's watched my story and who's engaged, who hasn't, who's love-hearted it, who hasn't. Like, I'm talking, guys, leaky energy, like getting into my DMs. I'm a hype girl on social media. So if I see a friend, a loved one, a client, and they're doing something amazing, I'm like in the DMs or I'm like reacting constantly. And it's a lot of energy output. And then, in the DMs, conversations. If someone messaged me, I have to reply straight away because otherwise it's a tab open in my head. And that redirection of energy while I've been away. So basically, I deleted Instagram and the app off my phone. I still don't have the app on my phone. I downloaded it once to post on Aphrodite's plate last weekend because that's where my energy actually wants to hang out when it comes to online right now. And as soon as I posted, I deleted the app again. So I check the app on my laptop every couple of days, sometimes every day, just to see if there's been any work come through. But for the most part, I'm talking like Trent has sent me reels and I've not opened his DMs. I've not opened anyone's DMs because I know once I do that, I'm back on and I'm not there right now. I'm feeling like I really want to shift. There's this piece around being considered around the use of the platform. It's not me never coming back onto Instagram ever again because it's a business tool for me. But it became so much more than that. And, my screen time when I was away was down by 5 hours a day. And that's not just Instagram, by the way. I deleted Gmail off my phone. It's also still not on my phone. So now I'm much more intentional when I check my emails through the day. It's the end of the day when Trent gets home from work and I'm not with my little girl. Because when I'm with her and I have my phone there, it's so easy to do a quick check, a quick check, a quick check. And a quick check amounts to, for me at least, like hours of my time, a quick scroll. So now with these apps removed from my phone, I have opened up a whole new level of boredom, which has been redirected into new channels of creativity. An example, I wrote a song, a full song, not melody, but lyrics. And I'm talking verse, pre chorus, chorus, second verse, pre chorus, chorus, bridge, pre chorus. Like I did it in 14 minutes. I put a timer on one morning in Fiji and I was journaling as I did every morning over there. I do every morning here anyway. And I realized, okay, it's time for me to pick up a creative writing practice again. I haven't written anything creatively intentionally in a long time. Let's just put a timer on for 15 minutes and whatever wants to come out, wants to come out. And 14 minutes later, I had a full song. It just channeled through me. My channel is activated, and I do think this is Uranus and Gemini moving over my 12th house. I knew I'd get channel upgrades. It's happened very fucking quickly. But I sent this song to my brother, who's a musician. We come from a musical family. I sent the lyrics to him because I read back on them and I'm like, this is a fucking good song. I just need someone to create it, like to put music to it and someone to sing it. My brother's a singer. If you guys don't follow him, by the way, fuck, he's an amazing musician. Tyler as a party. I know I'm biased, but as an example, Teddy Swims and my brother follow each other. Khalid follows my brother from hearing him sing in public. Like my brother is fucking incredible. And so I sent it to him and he knows music and he'd be very honest with me. We have the same chart pretty much. My brother's a Leo sun, hence the performer. He's a Leo sun in the 10th house. Leo sun, Leo moon, Scorpio rising, very creative, but then he's also Virgo, Venus, Mars, Mercury. So we are born 2 years and 1 day apart. He's the 9th of August. I don't talk about my brother a lot, but we're like best buds. And I knew that if I sent him a song and it wasn't that great, he'd be like, you need to work on it whole. He replied to me and he goes, what the fuck? This is amazing. And then he was like, who is this about? Because it's a proper love story that I wrote, but it's not about me and Trent. Guys, I channeled it. I swear to you, this is just like how creativity moves through me when I don't have distraction. And so the opportunity to sit with the spaciousness that not being constantly on my phone has provided me last night. So yesterday was a mum day. My little girl has been unwell. She's much better today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But she's, it's what happens when you go overseas with a child and then they are out of their rhythm and they're eating foods they're not used to. And then they get motion sick on the plane home and projectile vomit all over you and the seat. And that was my worst fucking nightmare come true. Anyway, that was part of it. But then, they pick up bugs. So there's been a lot of vomit in my life the last week. And so we were having a home day yesterday. It's been really rainy and gross. You can't even see that I got a lot of color in Fiji because it's already fading because there's been no sun here. But I was bored because, there was only so much she could do. She was unwell. And I was like, I'm going to make a banquet dinner because I've been watching a lot of cooking shows. Like when I have my bath at the night, rather than scrolling reels, I'm watching Next Gen Chef on Netflix. Great show. MasterChef is back, one of my favorites. And so I was like, oh, everyone can make flatbread. I'm going to make gluten-free flatbread. So I made yesterday lamb meatballs, gluten-free flatbread, a tzatziki from scratch, a hummus from scratch, halloumi, like caramelized garlic and cherry tomatoes in the oven, and lemon and garlic crusted roasted potatoes. And Trent came home from work at 5:30 and I was a proper homesteading wife being like, here you go, my husband. And he's like, what is this? I'm like, this is Holly, not on her phone during the day. I am having so much more creativity available to me. I'm literally was sitting going, do I need to resit the artist's way? Which the last time I did it was during my Saturn return. So it's probably a good time to do coming into my nodal return. But there's just a lot of energy available to me that hasn't been in a long, long time. And it's interesting because I do need to come back online in the next week or so, which I'll share in a moment. There's something exciting that I'm needing to promote. And I feel resistant to getting back on, to downloading the app, to posting in my stories. Not because, well, it's nothing to do with the platform, it's to do with my usage of the platform. And I'm onto a really good thing here. And there's nothing in me that wants to be using it right now. And that could also change. But it's been such a, I said before, it was an addiction for me. And I don't use that word lightly. I'm a child of two addicts, right? Drugs and alcohol. And so I see addiction and I'm the product of, addictive personalities. And I've always been, I guess I could potentially have that tendency because I'm quite determined and headstrong, but it's never been in a way that I have perceived to be as bad as, you know, I don't drink alcohol or I don't take drugs that much. No, I'm joking. Am I? Yes, she is. But social media for me was the addiction and the dopamine hit that I would get and the suppression of my feelings and all of the things that an addiction gives someone, I was getting through. It's not even my phone. It was Instagram specifically. I feel like it's really timely that this is coming up in the lead up to the nodal shift, Leo South Node, me being a Leo, but also having my South Node in Leo, in the second house, how I make money, so being forward facing, but how much forward facing, and that Aquarian eighth house energy, my Aquarian North Node is in the eighth house. That transit for me is like being a little bit rebellious, being a little bit of the oddball, being a little bit like, fuck the way everyone else is doing things. And the eighth house being a little bit mysterious. There's nothing mysterious about me. Well, there hasn't been up until lately. Have I felt mysterious to you guys the last 2 weeks? This is what I'm leaning into. Not intentionally sitting there being like, I want to be mysterious, but like, I don't need to put all my cards on the table all the time. And the people who desire my energy still have access to it through other means that aren't depleting me or impacting my livelihood, like this podcast, like the heart space and the pep talk I give every month in that group, like having a reading with me. There are so many ways people can access me that require more effort on the consumer's side versus my side. And that's kind of what has been established as a result of this trip, which I didn't anticipate at all. So that's been where I've been mentally. But the trip itself was amazing, guys. Oh my goodness. We hadn't had, as I said, a family trip in a couple of years. And it just, that quality time, the three of us, we never get. We never get it. Because we don't have family up here to help us out. It's always me and Trent tag teaming. If one of us has something on, the other one of us is here. And so it was so nice. We played like mini golf, and just laughed the whole time. We were like, we're having so much fun as a family. Like we have a lot of fun together when it's just the three of us, which is like hardly ever. We laughed a lot. My little girl thrived. She's like a proper little island princess. It was very, very sweet. People keep asking her where she gets her beautiful olive skin, and I get so offended. I'm like, the Maltese mother. Her father is Irish. Why is he browner than me? Because I'm half Scottish too, but seriously, it's offensive. Get so annoyed. Where does she get her beautiful olive skin from? I'm like, me, look at my beautiful olive skin. But I think I'm in denial. It's not that olive anymore. It used to be. I'm just inside a lot, being bored, no jokes. So the trip itself was, yeah, it was beautiful. It was a deal we booked through Luxury Escapes. If I'm truly honest, we won't stay back at the Shangri-La. That's where we stayed. It was a beautiful island. The land itself was 1,000 out of 1,000. That ocean, I've been to Fiji a couple of times. It's something else. The ocean was crystal clear. I'm going to show you guys a few things I found. The Mama Earth held me while I was there. I got so many gifts from the land. Wait until you see if you're watching YouTube. I sat ceremony. It was actually really beautiful. It just so happened that the room we were put in was right opposite this point on the island. So Shangri-La Resort is its own island. No other resorts. It's about an hour 20 from the airport. I didn't know that. I have a car seat motion sick daughter, would never ever do that to her again. She was good on the drives. Ironically, it was the plane that was the issue. Just side note on that, if any of you are motion sick or have motion sick children, can you please DM me? Because yes, I'm doing homeopathy with her, but I'm at the point now where I can't have the anxiety of we're having a 3 hour trip. Is she going to vomit? Not for me, but also not for her. It's not fair on her. And at the moment, the homeopathics alone are not cutting it. So if you do have motion sick children or you are a motion sick person, in like down to the fact that my little girl is so sensitive. I know I've said this before, but she's never thrown up on a plane before until our flight back. It was 2 hours of very, very gentle turbulence. It wasn't big turbulence, it was just constant. And it was like exorcism projectile vomit, like the poor little thing. So I need to pull out the big guns with that. So if you guys have any advice, don't DM me. Email me. That would be so nice. Thank you. Or leave a comment on the podcast. That would be amazing. Anyway, I forget what I was talking about. That's going to annoy me. Uh, wow. I really lost my train of thought there. It'll come back if it's meant to. Let's get to the earth holding me. Oh, the island. Yeah, it was on its own private island, and that was really beautiful. So my room was opposite this point called Sacred Point, and it was this outlook. And I'll pop this all on my stories when I come online at the end of the week, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that in a moment. But it was this seat that looked out over the ocean and the sunset point. So the portal of the west for me, our room was facing the portal of the west. When we arrived, it was sunset. It was just like breathtaking. And this seat was held by two guardians. I don't know anything about these guardians, but they were these figures that were in the earth alongside the seat. In the second half of our week there, I'd actually brought these little sachets of single serve cacao with me. And then at the buffet breakfast, I'd scoop out a jam pot, you know, those little mini jam pots, and then I'd fill it with the maple syrup from the pancake station. And I'd take that back to my room with me, and I'd make my cacao in the afternoon and go and sit at Sacred Point. The energy, you'll see it in my videos. It was absolutely sacred. I could feel it, and you can see it, the orbs, the light, the just the energy. And when I sat there with my cacao, I did it 3 days in a row. I was just, oh, so much download around exactly what I've spoken at the beginning of this show, and like everything around, you know, integrity and my energy and where I want to show up and what wants to change and all of the downloads. And obviously facing the portal of the West, a lot of that is endings and shedding and closure and new chapters. And just it was just breathtaking. It was just a beautiful experience. And I thanked the land. I kept thanking the ancestors of this land and Fiji and Mother Earth and Mama Kocha, the ocean. And what ended up happening is every day I found a gift from the land. And Trent was blown away by this because he was actively, we did shell hunting every day. She's autistic, like proper shell hunting. It was one of the best parts of it. I was like, the shells on this bloody land. Okay, awful way to phrase that. That was probably offensive. The shells on this sacred land were beautiful, and there were a lot that I gave back to the ocean. I felt into each one, and I only took a couple. But actually, the biggest gift I received was, and I'm going to show you guys on YouTube, a crystal. Can you guys see that sparkling? That is clear quartz, the size of my palm. So a few days into the trip, there were these beautiful cliff faces where we were staying. There was this little beach, and we looked in the cliff and we saw quartz. We were like, oh my God, there's proper clear quartz in the rock, like embedded in, like you're not getting that out, like, and you don't want to. That's where it lives. And Trent was particularly fascinated by it. He's like, I've never seen that in real life. And I looked it up, and it was like, yeah, Fiji has a lot of quartz, clear quartz especially, and some other quartz in its cliffs. And this is basically rock that's been, I looked up the process, and I might butcher this. If you know more than me, please correct me in the comments. But it's like water that's infused with the rock over millions of years to form these crystals. And we were blown away, right? And then one morning, I think I'd sat cacao twice and just thanked the earth, connected with the earth. We were walking along the beach, and there were people everywhere. This is like a big resort island, right? And I saw something out of the corner of my eye, Can't even tell. It was not even anywhere near the water. It was way washed up where like near where the cafe was, but like on the beach still. And I picked it up and here it was, crystal, like proper quartz from the earth. And that felt like a really big gift for me. Look at that. Look at that sparkling if you're watching the YouTube. Phenomenal. I also found some breathtaking shells that had like the Fibonacci spiral and stuff. So look at this one. I found some, like, I went proper shell hunting, guys. I thought I was a shell hunter. Look at that. This one actually matches what I'm wearing. So I took a couple with me. I asked which ones wanted to come home with me. Look at that. Sorry, I know if you're listening to this, that's very, very boring to hear me going, look at that. But they were like, that was a highlight of the week, truly. And the week itself as a holiday was faultless. We had the best time. I drank, guys. She drank pina coladas, like these big, and I'm not a pina colada drinker. I'm not really a drinker, but I was like, it started on Mother's Day, and that was it for me. I had two pina coladas a day from then, and they were these big bowls. I'll put that on online too, the size of my head. And I was like slurping these bad boys down, only two a day. I definitely came home feeling inflamed. I do like I felt rested yet inflamed. But it was so nice because it was like the fresh coconut from the island, the fresh pineapple from the island. It was so great. The food was really good. It was a lot of it was buffet style, and by the end we were kind of over that. And obviously we love cooking and we're missing our own cooking vibes. The reason that we wouldn't stay there again is for what we paid for. And this is something that I've actually realized I'm unapologetic about. I think it's being the second house Leo. I love premium high-end luxury service. Fucking, she says like a queen, and accommodation. It's something that actually really it feels regulating for me. And I was joining these dots while I was away too, because I've obviously not even realized that I've held a bit of shame around just how high end my needs are when it comes to something like a trip or like accommodation. I really love luxury travel. I really do. It's why I book all my accommodation through Luxury Escapes. And I also realize it's not just that I'm a second house sun, but I am a Libra moon, the fourth house. Like environments regulate me emotionally, beautiful environments, beautiful experiences. And so one of the biggest things for us was the room actually smelled of mold the whole time, which you can imagine activated a lot in me, but I surrendered and I was okay. I think it was the aircon. I did pass the feedback on to them. It smelled of mold. Twice we had to call their reception because there was sewage smell coming through our aircon. Just things where when you're paying a premium, you would expect a little bit better. The grass out the front of our room had big, big holes that were like a tripping hazard that really should have been filled up. Like I'm talking holes the size of like, I don't know, my laptop. That's an example because it's right in front of me. Like I couldn't let my little girl run around on the grass in front of our room because she could like break her ankle on a hole. It was also a bit aged for the like just for what we paid for, you know. That said, we still had an amazing time. I think next time, and we do want to go to Fiji every year. That's the dream. Just as our stop, drop, flop, do nothing but swim and shell collect while we're there. I think we'll stay closer to the airport next time for sure. I mean, I know we will. And I really loved the Intercontinental when we stayed, or when I stayed with my friend, maybe 7 years ago. And they, anywhere on Fiji where you're by the ocean, you're gonna get that beautiful tropical lush feel. But for me, yeah, there's been this realization that like not wronging myself for wanting to have those sorts of experiences in my life. And it does mean like I'm putting financial pressure on myself to be like, I want to stay at like 5-star resorts. Like I'm not definitely not there. But when I have the opportunity to, that's the preference, which feels a bit stretchy for me to say on a spiritual podcast. I'm not going to lie. And I am very, very, very grateful for the fact that we were able to have this holiday and, financially we're able to fund it at a time where cost of living is so high. And I definitely not taking any of that for granted. This was a holiday that we booked when we sold the haunted house a year ago. We were like, we are going to take the very little we made. And let me tell you, it was very little we made on that sale of that house, especially for what it put me through. And we're going to put it into a family holiday. So that's where that came from. Not that I have to justify where we spend our money, but it just clearly I feel like I need to. But that is like the stretch target for me now in terms of the life I want to live is generating as a family income that can fund these really beautiful, luxurious holidays as a little family unit. It feels like therapy for me and us. We came back as a tighter knit unit. We came back on the same page with where we're going for the rest of the year. For me, it was like therapy around what my focus is on not just like work and business, but also more general than that. Like where do I want to be focusing my energy in intention for the remainder of the year? And a big part of that for me is inflammation and really eliminating this inflammation that is still the highest marker in my bloods. Even after so many years of detoxing the mold and doing keto diet and all of this stuff, I got my thyroid test results back while we were away, and my thyroid's really good. I don't have hypothyroidism. I don't have hyper or hypo. Like that's kind of remission vibes, which is amazing. And at the same time, it still left question marks as to, okay, so why am I still having these symptoms? And what it looks like is going on with me is, yes, I have chronic levels of inflammation, but they're likely caused by, I'll look at the energetics in a minute, physically, an inability to regulate blood sugars and being insulin resistant, or like a tendency toward insulin resistant. I'm obviously not pre-diabetic. My sister has type 1 diabetes, so I understand like that is a whole other ballpark. But my body, since becoming a mother, is unable to regulate my blood sugars. That's what's causing the inflammation. That's why when I am in ketosis, the inflammation markers just drop way down. But you can't be in ketosis for the rest of your life. That is not a way to live. It's also not a healthy way to live. So, yeah, there's just a little bit of a shift in focus for me around if I want to conceive again, which, you know, the holiday as well. Trent and I had a lot of conversations around that. And he also expressed his not concern, but kind of around like, he absolutely does not want me to conceive or go through pregnancy while I'm still inflamed. And I agree. Like I can't do that to my body and I can't do that to my family. So my priority is my health in that way. I ordered another one of the gut cleansers. So that's arrived today. I've got to wait for my bleed to drop, get through that. And then when I'm next ovulating, so in the next couple of weeks, I am going to shit out more aliens. And that is not something that I would recommend you do all the time. It's just that I definitely have stockpiled inflammation and I didn't remove all of them when I did the first one. So I always had in my mind I'd do a second and it's time for that. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I'm on some supplements that are specifically around blood sugars. And I am also going to do energy work on the inflammation because a lot of what the download that was coming through for me while I was sitting over in Fiji in Sacred Point was that the inflammation is pointing to inflammatory people that have been in my life. They're not necessarily in my life anymore, but the suppression of feelings I have had around these people in my life where I have not allowed myself to really feel anger, process rage, the injustice, you know, Libra moon, I feel a lot of anger around the injustice of people like getting away with certain behaviors, lack of integrity, uh, people being perceived one way but actually behaving another way entirely behind the scenes. It's another reason why I'm so fucking resistant to Instagram at the moment. So I actually have my first of 3 sessions with Erin Lashley tonight, EFT. We love Erin. And I respond really well to EFT, very, very quickly to EFT. And I haven't had some intentional EFT in a very long time. So we're doing 3 sessions, first one tonight on specifically, she doesn't know this yet, but maybe by the time she listens to it, we'll have had the session around, yeah, suppression of anger, rage, because it genuinely isn't something that I feel. And I know that that's not great. It's not that I'm consciously suppressing anger. I think because I'm a very heavy earth chart, I've got 6 earth placements. It's my strongest element. And then my next strongest is air. So there's a lot that's just like solid and in the head. You know, I think my feelings. I think anger. Do I feel it? Well, I've got like a Leo sun, but that's in the second house. So it's a Taurus flavored Leo sun. So there's not much fire in me. Like a lot of my passion goes into work because Aries is rules my work, and I think that that kind of is my saving grace. But yeah, I look at my little girl, Triple Sag, little Miss Triple Sag, and she is fiery and she gets angry and she like hits the pillow and yells and screams into the pillow. Like I have taught her how to move anger through, but I don't even have it arise to move it through. Does that make sense? I'm sure for some of you it will if you have a similar chart to me. And so I'm like, I've realized in the last few weeks, I'm like, that's not actually a good thing because obviously anger is there somewhere. Like I'm thinking Inside Out vibes, the movie Inside Out, where like anger's up there somewhere, but I'm not accessing or listening to it. And so in that lies some form of suppression. And maybe being less online for me will reveal it. Because especially because I have a couple of friends who are also neurodivergent. And something with particularly autism is you can have autistic meltdowns. And the autistic meltdowns are like a tantrum, right? An adult tantrum. And my autistic friends have this as well. And they will have their meltdowns and then they will feel, embarrassed or get grief or shame around the meltdown, which they absolutely shouldn't. But I can understand it's part of the experience of being neurodivergent. Now, for me, maybe I had them when I was in high school sometimes, and they became more panic attack presenting. But for the most part, I just have the shutdowns, like where I just numb out and I need to go quiet or mute, and like no one can talk to me and I can't talk. But I don't have the meltdowns. And I think that that's a suppression thing. Like I haven't yet got overstimulated to the point of like needing to move it through. It's been interesting for me to sit with. So I'm curious around what's going to be accessed in this tonight. But I do think a lot of the inflammation points to, yeah, me swallowing anger and not even having an outlet for it. You know those rage rooms that people go to and break shit? I don't know what I'd do. I'd be like, I don't know what I'd do in the rage room. I'd like drop a glass and be like, like, opa, let's have a party. I don't know. So watch this space. That's the intention. But yeah, that's where I've been, guys. And then yes, the flight back from the trip was exorcism style vomit all over me, all over her, all over our seats. Like the flight attendants were amazing, so helpful, but in the end, it was me that had to clean all the vomit. I've been exposure therapy to vomit over the last week. I will say that. Um, and then we stayed one night because we flew into Brisbane and we got in late. We stayed one night at the Intercontinental Sanctuary Cove. Oh my God, incredible. If you ever need a staycay or if you're looking at coming up to the Gold Coast, but you want something a little bit more luxe, go there. It was beautiful. Like, and there's kangaroos on the grounds. It was stunning. I'm going to put all of these things, by the way, on Aphrodite's plate. So like I've already made them. This is where my creativity wants to go. I've got a reel on Intercontinental. I've got a reel on the Langham. That's where we stayed on our way up. I've got a reel on a burger place, and I just released a reel over the weekend on the best sandwich I've ever had in my life up here in Byron Bay. So definitely go join Aphrodite's Plate. I'll put it in the show notes. That's where I'll give more detail. But anyway, we drove home, and then a couple of days went by, and my little girl just came down with this weird bug where she was vomiting on Saturday into my hands. So yeah, as I said, exposure therapy to vomit. No, that was Sunday and fevering. And then the next day, which was yesterday, she was still in pain and unwell. And now today it's kind of progressed into more like a cold, sniffly thing. So that's where I've actually been is like, we had this beautiful time away. And then I was thrown straight back into like the stress of modern day mum life. You guys ever watch that show as a kid, Rocco's Modern Life? That's what I was just thinking. Holly's Modern Life. So it's actually been quite jarring, if I'm honest. Like my nervous system feels completely shot. I feel hypervigilant. I feel quite anxious, actually, if I'm honest. The remedy I am taking for homeopathy does connect to suppressed anxiety. So I am just moving through that. But you can probably hear it in me. Like I'm taking more shallow breaths. So it's a good thing I'm not actively online right now because I am feeling what's there. This would be the prime time for me to numb out. But anyway, it's really been this jarring bliss, peace, contentment straight into sick child, 24/7 need mum, uh, yeah, so hopefully it eases over the next few days, for her sake mostly, but also it'll be nice to, yeah, just get a little bit of breathing room to ease back into everyday life. I did go to the gym though, guys. I haven't been in the gym in months. I've still got to unpack what that resistance is. I thought I'd gotten to the bottom of it last year. Joining it was the big deal, but then I've like been paying for a membership for months and not gone because the last time I went, I felt anxious. And then walking up to the gym today, I also felt that anxiety spike. So there's definitely still some fear attached to the way I used to train, or certain things I have, memories I have connected to the gym. So that was curious, but I went and I walked for an hour on the treadmill. That was it. That's all I wanted to do, is like, I just need to walk because it's been so rainy, although it's blue skies now. I did that. So I just want to get into a nice little rhythm, get back on track with my readings, and yeah, ease into the next couple of months. But exciting. The reason that I am going to be jumping on socials in probably end of the week, maybe next week, is I'm running my very first Heartspace live event up here on the Northern Rivers with tickets available to the public. Like all of you guys. I mean, not all of you can come, obviously. It depends on who's willing to travel, but I am doing this collaboration in collaboration with a beautiful hinterland venue up here in Pierce's Creek, which is up here in the Byron Bay hinterland, and of course Loco Love. And so it's a 2 hour sunset around the fire pit ceremony on the day that the nodes shift. So we're going to be moving out of Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node and into Aquarius North Node and Leo South Node. Actually, when I booked this date in, I didn't realize that's when it was falling, which is just amazing. It makes me so excited. When I joined the dots, I was like, oh my God, of course. It was just literally a timing thing, like the availability of the venue. And so this is going to be huge because I've done one Heartspace live event last year, but it was only for Heartspace members. This is available to all of the public. Anyone can come, but there are only 20 tickets. So the tickets aren't actually on sale yet, but when they are, I will. Do you know what? As a Soul Talk listener, you guys get first dibs. If you want to be in the know, please email me. Email holly@hollyasaparty.com and say, I want to know about, just tell me what you want to be on. I guess it's kind of like a wait list, right? But just email me that you're wanting to come, because once those 20 tickets are done, I actually have no more space. So that's not me just saying it as a marketing ploy. It's legit. And everyone's going to take home their own Loco Love ceremonial cacao as well, which is so great. It's just going to be so special. Sunset, fire. Cass is coming with me. She's going to help. She's going to be my like assistant sidekick of the day. I'm excited. I'm pumped. And obviously, I want to come online and share that because that's going to be a fun time. And this is where I need to become more clear around the intention of the usage, as I said. So it could be that a Friday is my Instagram day and I download the app and I share what I'm going to share and then I delete. Who knows? It's going to take trial and error, but I'm really committed to a new way moving forward because I'm very excited about what this is opening up for me. And I actually think, in a roundabout way, as I'm speaking this out and joining the dots, that maybe the way I was using Instagram in the past was creating the inflammation in my body as well, because I'm not sitting with my feelings. I'm suppressing, suppressing, suppressing. So that's food for thought for me, and maybe some of you too. Hey guys, it's so good to be back. I know this is a random Tuesday ep, so I'll try and get you What's the Vibe over the next couple of days. And go check out the YouTube if you want to humor me and just give me love on how beautiful it looks. Even though I did nothing, that was not me. That was all Ash. Go give Ash love on how beautiful it looks. And I know I said in this episode I'll put a few things in the show notes and I've already forgotten what they are. So he's hoping I remember them. And I will be back in your ears, ideally in a few days. Bye, guys.